Welcome. I'm Michael Voss, the Mesa Community College Perkins Grant Administrator. This short training video is intended to help first-time users successfully submit a Perkins request, and it's also a great opportunity for those who have some familiarity with Perkins to get a quick just-in-time refresher to make sure that you're up to speed on all the latest and greatest Perkins information. Each spring, we send out a kickoff email to let people know that the Perkins funding opportunity is available. We send that out to program directors, chairs, other campus leaders, and in that email, you'll get a link that takes you to the Perkins grant page, which gets updated every year as well. It has great information about the grant, its purpose, and what it's intended for. You'll also see information there about what the current deadline is to submit proposals. There's links to training videos such as this one, the actual request form, supplemental documents, and then there's even a little bit of historical information kept on the site. All right, let's switch to the funding overview for the Perkins grant. Again, this is intended for use of career and technical education programs. It needs to be focused on the students. It's needs-based for sure. And we cannot use this funding to supplant our regular cost of doing business. And what I mean by that is if we have a piece of equipment that just breaks in the normal wear and tear of the program, we can't use this money to replace that item. What we can do is use this money to enhance or grow our programs. Okay, so we could buy additional supplies and equipment if the intention was, these are new items we've never had before and we're growing and developing the program, or we're updating to modern technology, and so the capabilities of our equipment has somehow fallen out of standard and we're buying equipment now that is the latest, greatest industry standard. We could use the funding for that. It's a great source for professional development dollars, especially for those employee groups who may not have access to lots of professional development funding. The Arizona Department of Education does prefer that our requests are aligned with programs that lead to national or state licensure and or industry certifications. Once all the requests come in, those funds are prioritized by a team. So typically we ask a sub-team of CT Ops to take a look at all the requests, provide some initial recommendations as to the ranking of those requests. That ranking sheet then goes to the Perkins Grant Administrator, who may amend those rankings to ensure that the funding priorities best align with Perkins 5 criteria, the Arizona Department of Education guidance, and MCC strategic direction. Ultimately, the ranking list is reviewed and approved by the Student and Academic Affairs Leadership Team, or SALT. There are requirements for the funds, or just kind of where this all comes from. We are currently working on Perkins version 5, which was just enacted into law and fully executed in 2019. It amends the previous version, which was Perkins 4, which was executed in 2006. And really the big change is how we assess the use of the funds. So it's really intended to improve student retention and improve student placement in the program, improve or increase the number of credentials and certificates and degrees in the program, and really encourage non-traditional enrollment. So Perkins really looks at the gender-based aspect of that, and so if you have a program that's historically male enrolled, efforts to increase enrollment of females or vice versa. But it also does look at other demographic factors to we could demonstrate our ability to better serve the underserved in these assessment criteria. Let's look at the updated funding request form itself. So this year, hopefully new users and previous users will find it much more user-friendly. The items in red are call-outs of things that are particularly important. The first of which is that contrary to the past, you may need to submit multiple requests for each program of study. And what do I mean by that? So previously we allowed people to submit everything on one form. Now it's important that we separate funding requests because the rationale for things like professional development might be very different than the rationale for requesting something like supplies and capital equipment. If you need any help, feel free to reach out to me and I will give you a hand with this form. Okay, so in the form, if you get to any areas that are just gray fields, those are ones that you can type in, and they're really simple things like the date, the requester name, the department that you're in, the program of study that you're trying to impact or that you're aligned with. And it is important that all the program of studies that we request funding for here are actually on the approved state list, which is hyperlinked here. So we would typically list the program of study name that's the way it's commonly understood here at Mesa Community College. If you're unsure, you can go to the Mesa Community College homepage, go to program A to Z. Any of those program names are fine as long as they are roughly aligned with something on the list here from the state. Okay. Funding requests are, the majority of the funding does need to go directly to career and technical programs, but that doesn't exclude some other service-based or some other part of the college from putting in a Perkins request. Specifically, something that impacts fields of interest or getting students to be more aware of career opportunities, that would be a fine request. Better integration of our STEM programs in terms of academic integration, specific tutoring for career and technical areas, recruitment and outreach efforts, that are trying to recruit for career technical and or non-traditional students into career and technical fields. All those are opportunities for funding. As you go down the form, we need to describe the purpose, and this can be fairly simple, just a paragraph or two in this text box here to explain why we need whatever we're asking for. As you go down a little further, a description, describe what it is, and there's a bunch of fixed fillable forms here. These aligned with the budgetary funding categories. If possible, attach quotes. But again, if you had a professional development request, I would expect to see, descriptions in, either in-state or out-of-state travel area, and then probably conference registration. If you're doing something that's maybe skills-based or student success-based for CTE, I could see perhaps a supply and equipment type request coming in, along with maybe a capital equipment coming in, or perhaps you're a computer information technology type program. Maybe you're asking for specific technology and or license agreements. So it's important when you submit these requests, if you're requesting multiple things that the rationale is very different, just go ahead and submit those as separate requests. Okay. All right. And then the last part is actually, there's a couple pages, but it's pretty easy to do. So this is just demonstrating that what we're asking for is aligned with what's allowable in Perkins and also what's desired by the state. So there's a bunch of check boxes here. There's 6 major categories. The first one is career and development. It has, you can check that box. There's sub boxes as well. Any field where the text is highlighted in gray, that is something that is not only a federal Perkins criteria, but it's also a priority for the state of Arizona. So when you're able to align your funding requests for things that are aligned with Perkins and the state of Arizona, those I believe would be viewed as a higher priority of things that we want to fund. Okay. There's professional development and several criteria here. There's skills development, and you'll see a lot of information here. Skills development tying into special populations, stuff like that. Academic integration, this is a great one for our STEM related requests that might come in, or we're really trying to be more multidisciplinary in nature. So CT working with math, science, and literacy components, those sorts of things. Increased student achievement, this is a pretty common category that a lot of the CT programs will use. You'll find a lot of standards in here tied to industry, improving the skills within the program. So again, look through here and click all of the items that apply to this particular request. The one that probably would not be very utilized, at least within our college, is going to be item number 6, which is evaluation and accountability. That's in here really for Perkins grant administrators. So for Maricopa, having these criteria in here means that at that level, they can organize the evaluation criteria, the grant management criteria, and utilize some of the Perkins grant for that overhead. And really, that's about it. So again, hopefully you'll find this form a lot more user-friendly than the past. Feel free to go ahead and get started on it. And if you have any questions, reach out. Thanks for viewing this video. Hopefully you found it informative, and have a fantastic day.